Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is for the Vicki Boutin Design team, and today I want to create a layout, or I'm going to create a layout, that is based on Jana's challenge. Jana is one of our fellow DT members, and she challenged the entire community, the Vicki Mixed Media community, to create your own embellishments for your layouts. So since I have Vicki's cut file, and you see that I used it and I cut it out of plain white cardstock, I'm going to use it to create my own embellishments. And I'm going to show you two ways to go about it. And one of them is, like I said, I had pre-cut the leaves. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to cheat watercolor. And for this, I'm using all these colors. You're going to see that I use a lot of warm tones. I'm going to get like very fall look into this layout. And all I'm going to do is scribble a little bit of the crayon on a mat, and then just water it down. But I'm gonna bring like into little patches. Think of it kind of tie-dye. And then I'm just gonna smoosh the leaf onto it. I'm gonna make sure that I try to get colors that when they get together, they're not gonna muddle and create brown. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna go for a purple and a brown, something that is, and when I am adding them onto the mat, I am keeping them close by, but I'm not combining them. So that one, when I put my leaf down and I smoosh it, I'm gonna have the two colors, or they're gonna mix together, and that's about it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and adjust splatters on top of it, just to add to the watercolor look. This is a great way to cheat watercolor. I know some of you are still afraid of mixed media, and if you think you're gonna create brown, then just use one single color. Do the same technique, just scribble the crayon, add some water, it's gonna water down completely, then smoosh the leaf on top of it, and then add another splatters of another color. And that's just gonna give you that look of fall, and it's gonna make it so easier and so much pleasurable, I'm gonna say, to some of you to see the leaves with color and with the look of a watercolor finish. So try it. Now the second way that I'm gonna show you how to create this kind of watercolor look for my leaves is I have cut quite a few of the leaves, just the outline, the detailed outline. So I'm bringing in, this is a watercolor paper from the Junk Journal insert. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create my watercolor background to back all the leaves. And what I'm doing this time around, and you're gonna see one of the reasons why I'm using watercolor paper is because it's easier to work with the pigment and quite a bit of water. So all I'm gonna do is, like as you see, I'm mixing the colors to create like the full look that I'm going for. Once I have that done, I'm going to sprinkle some water onto the watercolor paper and then just add the pigment and move it around. If it's easier to spray the, the little mister bottles, the Vicki Boutin ones, just spray a little bit of the water onto the watercolor. And as soon as you put the pigment, it automatically, organically moves and distributes with the water, which makes it so easy to create a watercolor look. And again, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. The past few days in Toronto have been super hot. We're in the middle of fall, but we've had temperatures of 35 degrees, really sunny. It's crazy days lately here in Toronto. So even though I moved the camera and I moved up the lights, there's still a lot of sun coming into the apartment. So you're going to see that I'm going to work really fast with this layout, with this part of the layout, and get it off camera just to kill a little bit of the sun, because it was really hard to, there's a lot of reflection coming onto the filming and also onto my eyes, and I wear glasses, so it was a little bit hard to work around this. So like you see right now, all I'm doing is adding watercolor. I'm not being super careful. All I want to do, what I want to make sure, is that the colors do not mix together to be brown. So you're going to see that once in a while, even though I'm adding all these colors, once in a while I'm going to bring a little piece of paper towel just to soak up the extra water that is puddling around the layout. Because if I leave this water to puddle, it's going to mix all together and it's going to form brown. So that's the only thing that I'm going to be careful with. Then the rest, you're going to see that I'm just adding color onto the layout. I'm using my brush and the mister just to spread the color around. And that's pretty much it. One of the things that I make sure is that I added sections big enough that I'm going to have enough to back a leaf, to back the leaves. And there's going to be sections where I'm going to have two colors combined. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the way it looks. Like I said, I did not go for like something specific that I wanted to be careful. No, all I wanted to do is add color onto the watercolor paper, like I said before, because I'm going to cut it up. And if I don't back the leaves, I'm actually gonna probably freehand the leaves too, or I can put it through my silhouette, which I might do too, just to have like, you know, create more leaves. Now this is a couple hours after the sun has died a little bit and everything has dried. So if you have seen a couple videos from Jenna a couple weeks ago, she added foil to her leaves. So I want to bring shine onto my layout, but I'm actually going to use some gilded, which is some gold leaf, and some actually have copper leaf too. So for this, I am using some matte acrylic gel, and all I'm doing is adding a little bit of the gel, onto the watercolor paper that I created. And then I'm going to bring some of the gold leaf and I'm going to glue it onto it. But when I'm gluing, some of the parts are going to be flat because I'm going to use the brush to help it. And some of it is going to have a little bit of texture. Think of it when we have aluminum foil and it gets all those wrinkles. It's going to look like that, and I love it. I love the way it looks, and I set it aside to dry. And this took not too long to dry, but I made sure that it was completely dry. And I love it. You're going to see that I mix a little bit of gold and a little bit of copper all over the page. It's going to bring all those warm tones onto the layout and quite a bit of shine. Once it was all done, I used some of this paper to back some of the leaves. And then what I did is I took it to my sewing machine and just stitched through the middle of all the leaves. Some of the water paper I used through my silhouette to cut extra leaves of the solid watercolor. And the only thing that I did is I used the Vicki Boutin the ink set, the warm set, just to add a little bit of color to the edges of the leaves. I don't want it to see that much white. I don't want to see the difference between the watercolor and the white cardstock. So I did a little bit on the edge. And that's about it. Now I have an idea of what I want to have in my page, and I have this idea of some leaves swirling around the picture. And this is a picture of my daughter a couple of weeks ago, actually. So my idea is, think of an inverted V on the layout, kind of an arrow. So all I'm doing is I'm mixing some tones of green. There's a lot of like this olive green on the layout. So all I'm mixing is those two colors with a little bit of gray, because the gray in the Vicki Boutin neutral set has a tinge of green. And that's going to help me bring this green that I'm trying to get to. And once I have that done, I'm actually going to use a brayer to add the watercolor onto my page. I want something like very messy. And as you see, I'm being very careful to form the V. Now, all you see right now, while my background dried, I took the time to cut a piece of the papers just to back the picture. And I love the green paper that I'm using because it's actually going to play nicely with the colors in the picture. And I also cut it from the collect and document paper. Is the one that comes with all the tags and the little pieces, like, you know, journaling spots. I cut a few of them, and I'm going to use them as layers behind the picture. At the same time, I also fussy cut some of the butterflies from the one of the papers, and I make sure that I cut some of the green ones and the yellow ones and the fuchsia ones, because I want to play and add them to the layout. I think they're going to bring the extra punch of color that I'm looking for. Once I have that done, I'm going to add a little layer of a foam adhesive in between the layers that I'm working with, because I want a little bit of lift on the layout. Now, I'm going to add just a little bit of extra details on the background. And my idea is to use this stamp set. It's called, I believe it's called Escape the Ordinary or Escape. And I'm using the crosses. And all I did is I used the same colors that I used to create the background. And I added a little bit of water, not too much. And I'm going to stamp the crosses onto my layout just around the edge of the, like I said, think of it as a V. You know, and because I know when I glue the leaves down, there's going to be some empty spaces around it. And it's not that I want to be empty, but I'm thinking, you know, like the dust when you see when the leaves are going around. This is pretty much what the idea was. Then after that, you're going to see that I bring my phone, because I kind of play with the formation and I have an idea of how I want the leaves to set. And I'm going to take quite a bit of time to play with the leaves. And I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind some of them just to create movement, and the idea that some of them are lifting, some of them are floating, and some of them are going to glue straight onto the layout. And it took some time at the same time because I wanted to combine the colors. I wanted to combine the shapes. I wanted to combine the fact that some of them were solid watercolor. Some of them have the white outline. And you're going to see that I glue some parts of it, and another parts I use foam adhesive to add on the same leaf. So you're going to see that I bring my bottle of glue once in a while just to hold the leaf down so it doesn't move around. And took no time, like I'm not going to say it took no time. It took some time to put this together, but I love the way it looks. And now that you see the leaves, now you get an idea of what my design looks like. Like I said, I wanted like a swirl of leaves, something like when you walk it around, the leaves just like come up and like, you know, surround you. Now, when I went through all the stuff, like all the little ephemera pack, I found this Enjoy Today, and I loved it. I thought it was the great title. I was gonna bring some of the black in my daughter's clothing, but I fussy cut around the edge of the ephemera piece because I didn't want that much white. There's a lot of white, but I want the emphasis on the black. So I fussy cut a little bit of the white piece of it. And all I did is I used some foam adhesive to make sure that when I glue it onto the layout, it's gonna pop out. I don't want it to hide underneath the leaves. After that, there's not much more embellishment that it needs. I'm going to bring in the butterflies that I fussy cut, and I'm going to place them around the layout. You're going to see that I added some of the green butterflies to different spots to create my triangle so that my eye will go around it. And I did the same with the pink ones and the yellow ones. I just distribute them so that it, like, fills the empty spaces and bring attention to some of the spots. After that, I'm going to bring some of the puffy stickers, some of the journaling spots just to decorate, actually embellish the page. I'm going to bring some of the watercolor stickers, these clear ones. I'm just going to add a little accent at the corner over here that says be a little crazy. My daughter can be crazy once in a while, so I wanted to add that. And then just a watercolor sticker that says take the risk underneath the Enjoy Today. I'm going to add my lines of journal underneath the picture and the date. And just to complete the page, I brought some Heidi Swap Color Shine Gold, just because I had it at hand, and I think it's going to benefit all the shine that I added on the leaves. And that's about it. I love how this turned out. I love fall. I think the shine in the layout. I think the fact that I create my own leaves. I just love how this turned out. I hope you try it. If you have any questions, as always said, don't hesitate to contact me. Join in the challenge. I would love to see what you create with this idea. And don't forget to check Vicky's stuff. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.